Well, basically, if you think about it, some of the biggest challenges that we have here in the city of Detroit, if a terrorist attack were to happen, can really be pushed onto other cities, kind of help you figure it out. Not only do you have an international border here, but you also have the water, so you have the Coast Guard. So in the past, when they do what they call these tabletop exercises, they do them in rural areas, or they rarely do them in New York City. But this was a little bit different. It was in the heart of Detroit, and they'd like to do more like this in the future. The city looks nice from here, sure, but this isn't a ride for fun. The National Guard is getting a tactical view for a purpose.
It's one thing to see something on a chart or a map. It's another thing to see it with your own two eyes from the ground level.
Coast Guard Lieutenant Chamberlain helped others get that view, but it's really only part of the picture.
We'll be walking right in between these two.
The Guard also met up with the folks from Detroit Thermal. Many of us quick to forget that there's some 20+ miles of underground tunnels in the city of Detroit. Key personnel was sent underground more than 50 feet below the surface to get a view only workers typically get an eye on. Our camera is only allowed to show you where they entered.
You don't think about subterranean. You don't think about, 9/11 having to run up, 50 flights of stairs. We're kind of creating some challenges for the leaders to be thought-provoking.
When you think of something big like 9/11, you quickly understand that real-world challenges immediately pop up. Among them, hospital beds or lack thereof.
When you get into tens of thousands, you're going to need that state response and then ultimately that federal response.
It's not that the feds come in and take over. In fact, it's the city who would be guiding everyone if that worst-case scenario happened. But factoring in an international border, Detroit has its own unique challenges, making this a helpful spot for all groups involved to brainstorm and talk those issues out.
Basically set a very big what if, and we were looking at the possibility of a chemical attack.
And while training like this on the ground may have flown under the radar, the truth is it's unique and not typically done in cities like Detroit. This is a little different than war games that you see because it's what they call a tabletop exercise. Only a few hundred people came here, but they said that this is important for the National Guard because they do respond to events like this. And you see them for tornadoes and hurricanes and things like that, but they've also been serving a mission overseas for many years, so this is a little different for them. And also it's a unique thing for Detroit because it gives them a chance to actually deal with the local authorities that would be in control of them were the worst day to actually happen right here in the D. Here we're live alongside the Detroit River. Matthew Smith, 7 Action News.
Yeah, Matt, it's not something you want to think about, but you definitely want to be ready should the worst occur.
Must be prepared.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Matthew.